This is a twin session. I have a talk which would be followed by a panel discussion, both conversations on FinTechs. So my few minutes are going to be about future telling. I'm going to try and go and make some predictions. Now predictions are only fun if they are short term. And as we go through this, I want you to remember two things. One bad and one good about short term predictions. The bad one first. The thing is that when you go out and make short term predictions, you have to be precise. Because you can't go and talk about broad brush strokes in terms of trends. You have to say exactly what's going to happen in the future. And the second thing is that the predictions that you make, if you're wrong, they come back and bite you very quickly. Most of the time you do the same thing in the same way, and people remember. So in other words, it's the best way to ruin your reputation, to go out and make short-term predictions and be wrong. Now, the good thing about short-term predictions is that if people have a way of figuring out what is going to jump at them on the next bend ahead of other people, then they can leverage that knowledge to profit from it, and they can leverage that knowledge to avert disaster. And what I say is true for individuals, it's true for companies, and it's true for industries. So for example, if you could see e-commerce coming way before everybody else and the kind of impact that it has had, then obviously you would have saved your industry, you would have gained as an individual, you would have reinvented your company. ERP in a computer age before internet, if you could see that coming and you could build around it, everybody would get rich. So that's the plus. I'm going to go ahead and make some of those predictions. So the first one is that all of this excitement around the FinTech space, and we'll talk more about it, most of it is going to happen in the emerging markets. Okay, so the biggest use case that FinTechs have is banking the unbanked, or is bringing services to people that don't have it. And guess what? In Pakistan, the glass is not half full or half empty, it's fully empty. So we've got less than 5 or 7% people in this country today, whichever way you want to look at it, who are actually using digital payments right now. So 90% of the people or more are not. And that's called the glass half full empty. Now, if you look at that pie chart over there, 75% of the world, which is unbanked, is actually in Africa, China, and Asia. And in most places, people that are unbanked are in 30 or 20%, but in Pakistan, 85% people almost are unbanked. So the thing is that mobile payments, agent network, and now wallets have come out in such a way that they're becoming the pathways or the gateways now for more complex services to be built on top. And it's these more complex services which are going to be digital credit, lending, wealth management, savings, insurance, that the FinTechs are going to come in and build. So all the FinTechs in the Western Hemisphere are actually sharpening their knives, drooling over China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and all of these players, because that's where hundreds of millions of people are outside the fold of these places, and the baseline is set in terms of mobile payments, in terms of agency business, and now wallets. So a little bit on Pakistan. Now, Pakistan, the glass is all empty, but on the baseline, we are doing very well. So we've got State Bank, we've got PTA, we've got banks, we've got agents, we've got players like EasyPesa, MobiCash, so much awareness, all sorts of stuff going on, biometrics, digitized ID card, one of the 5th youngest populations in the world. And now what's going to happen very quickly is that on top of all of this existing assets that we have, three new things are going to come: the PSPs, the FinTechs, and the digital banks. And these players are going to leverage all the existing infrastructure which is there. So disruption doesn't happen in a vacuum. Disruption happens when you've got plumbing underneath. So think of your 30 million bank accounts as plumbing. Think of the 12,000 ATMs as plumbing. Think of the digital merchants that are coming on as plumbing. All of these things are going to be leveraged in Pakistan. So the point that I'm making is that A, FinTech action is going to unfold in the emerging market context, and Pakistan, I'm saying, is tipped to be an outlier in that context, even in that category. And all of this will happen within the next 3 years. Now, the second observation that I want to make is that, in Pakistan, we should start to call e-commerce, my submission would be online commerce. Because e-commerce is an incorrect framing of what we do. Because 95% of what we're doing today is cash on delivery. So what's going to happen is that cash on delivery is going to grow organically. E-commerce, which is backed by MasterCard and Visa and Union-led plastics, debit and credit, is not going to grow much, very little marginally, but all the growth is going to happen in online commerce for us through mobile commerce. And mobile commerce is going to be when you've got online players having mobile wallets on one side and customers having mobile wallets on the other side and making transactions from there. So online commerce is going to grow exponentially in Pakistan in the near future at the back of mobile commerce. COD is going to be there, it's going to continue to grow. E-commerce conventional will not grow. So online commerce. Now, what I said is also backed up by where all the money is going up. So in 2016 only, $5.3 billion were spent in the FinTech space, which is a 67% growth from the last quarter. But the thing is that it is an increase of 445% for China. So out of that, China in the last quarter has grown 445% in FinTech investment, and the US only grew by 44%. So Asia, over the last 1 year in 2015, has grown 4 times in terms of FinTech investment, Asia Pacific, which is where we are. So the money is starting to go to places where people's main basic needs are not fulfilled. Whenever your basic needs are not fulfilled, that's where large-scale societal disruption takes place. And Pakistan is the epicenter of that. And we've got all the plumbing underneath. And the money is showing that. Money is going to Africa, starting to go to different parts of Asia, and it's starting to come to Pakistan as well. Now we need to understand that how all of this will happen. And I take you to this chart, which is very, my favorite. I've shown this before also. And this is what we call the SMAC stack. So we have SMAC stands for social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. These are technologies that you go out and you apply to your business case in an integrated fashion. And once you do that, you have explosive growth. So before the SMAC stack, we've had 4 different ages of master corporate IT structures. And each one of them, through the S-curve, if you see, last about 10 years. The first one is mainframe. The second one is mini computer, then distributed internet PC, and now we are in the SMAC stack. Now, every time when there is this new age, there is explosive growth, both at the vendor side and it happens on the customer side. This happens because a particular app is discovered, e-commerce, in case of the internet PC, and all the processes that fire the business case are reconstructed, and then there is massive growth. And then the growth kind of tapers off, and that's the S-curve. Now, we are in the middle of the SMAC stack play. Think of SMAC stack like, the steam engine or the industrial revolution. It's an engine of growth. All the companies that are built on SMAC stack rule the world right now. Facebook, Amazon, Google, Apple, Netflix, they're all smart, smack stack. Now the companies that are failed or missed this age are not around. For example, Britannica didn't go smack stack way south. Kodak didn't do it south. So the examples are all there. So now the big question is that how do you go out and make banks do the smack stack thing? How do you go out and construct business cases in banks which are based on social, mobile, analytics, and cloud with all the problems that the banks or large incumbents have? That's the big question. That's what Shoaib talked about as well. And the answer is that, it's like going out and teaching the elephants to dance. You can teach the elephants to dance, but that's probably not a good use of anybody's time. So the way to do it is that you don't teach the elephants to dance, but what you do is that you bring the FinTechs on top, which is this dotted line, and the FinTechs or the startups have all the social, mobile, analytic, cloud, integrated technology sets and business cases, and they just come on top of the existing banking platforms. And the banking platforms per se don't have to go out and reinvent. And that's really the FinTech and the bank partnership here. So what I'm saying is as follows. The feature phones and the transition to the smartphone is the biggest smack stack example. So if you take the smack stack out of your smartphone, what is it? It's like a very expensive watch or a paperweight or a phone only. So today, only 10% of smartphone is used for communication. 90% of the smartphone is used for things which are non-communication, non-phone code functions that you and I cannot think were possible. How did that happen? That happened because iOS and Android very early on realized that they are platforms. And they said that we are not good at innovating. Platforms cannot innovate to save their lives. Banks are platforms as well. The innovation burden moved out of the incumbents, out of the platform to the market. Small companies, small players, kids started to develop apps. Apps came onto the iOS and the Android platform, and the rest is history. They were able to go down so low into the need-solving situations of their customers that they completely reinvented the world. The point that I'm trying to make is that banks or financial institutions, MNOs, all players that are industry incumbents are exactly like iOS and Android. They are platforms. They will not be able to innovate. The only thing they do is BAU, which is to churn repeated transactions and host relationships. Other than that, they can't do much. So what I'm saying is that what apps have done to smartphones is exactly what the FinTechs are going to do to banks. And what that means is that the banks are going to open themselves up as platforms, and they're going to create a methodology. Through that methodology, multiple FinTechs will start to come on top of banks, and all the use cases, all the new innovation types, all the functionalities are actually going to come from the FinTech. So if you're a bank, you have a wallet, if you have internet banking, new functionality sets will start to come on there. Or if you're EasyPesa or MobiCash or Jazz, then all of these things. And when the customer clicks on that new service, you won't know, but that service is actually coming from the FinTech. And if there is take-up, only then the FinTech will make money. And if there is no take-up, then there is nothing, there's no downside for the bank, exactly like all the apps on the smartphone work. So if you have an app on a smartphone and it's not used, the iOS is not going down in any way, right? It's not paying any price. It's only when the upside comes that the revenue is shared. Up to 70% of the money is actually going to the people that develop apps. Similar trends are going to follow in banks, and that's how banks are going to reinvent. Now when that happens, another thing will happen. And this is something that I've been saying for a while, which is what the mobile phones have done to landlines, and we spoke about it in the last presentation in the morning, is exactly what the mobile wallets are going to do to bank accounts. So the mobile wallets are going to disrupt the bank accounts just like the mobile phones have disrupted the landlines. And the reason is very simple, because the mobile wallets are digital fully. They don't follow the laws of physics. You've already invested in your phone or in your smartphone and you download the wallet and then things will happen. But bank accounts are rooted in the real world. You have to come to a bank, you have to sign paperwork. Bank accounts are a privilege. Mobile wallets are going to be for everyone. Landlines in this country were a privilege. We only had 3 million landlines in Pakistan in year 2001. We were 137th in the world. 10 years, by 2010, we had more than 100 million mobile phones and we were the 6th largest country in terms of feature phones. The same is going to happen to mobile wallets now. Now, when that happens, that everybody is going to have mobile wallets, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's happened for us twice before. The first time it happened is when we got the feature phone. So when I was on stage in 2001 telling people we have 100 million phones by 2010, people were throwing things at me and leaving the thing, but it happened more than what I was saying. Then the smartphone was the same situation. Now we are close to 40 million people with smartphones, growing at a rate of 2 million plus a month, and very quickly we'll be the 5th largest country in the world in terms of number of people connected to the internet. When all of this will happen, another great thing is happening which is not very apparent, and which is this, that any time when we take something from analog to digital, the frequency of the consumption grows exponentially. So we do a lot more Google searches than we were going to the library. We do a lot more digital photographs than we were when the photographs were analog, right? We do a lot more tweets, likes, and all of these things go exponential. So what's going to happen is that people are going to be making a lot more digital payments than the payments that they make through cash today, because it's inconvenient to go and give cash. So if I owe somebody 1,000 rupees, if they ask me, I'll give them 1,000 rupees, because otherwise they'll ask me again. So I won't give them 100 rupees. But if all of us are digitally connected, then I'll give them 100 rupees, and then another 100, and then another 100. So it's a colossal mistake to go out and start to see, if we do so many payments in cash, the similar payments will get converted to digital, so over time you have something digital. It's not going to be like this. So the move from a cash-heavy economy in Pakistan to a cash-light economy at the back of mobile wallets is going to be much faster than what people think is going to be. I'm coming to an end. Now, there could be, there are industries right now where people think that this transformation is not happening, but that's because their melting point has not come. This is a slightly dated slide, but if you see, like water boils at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but aluminium has 1200 degrees, but everything is starting to fall into the smack stack digital mobile play. And if you don't start playing by these rules, your industry is going to get disrupted sooner or later. It could be that you're in a space which is, which is not, which feels that it's not going to be transformed anytime soon, but it's going to be upon us, upon you sooner than you think. Everything is going to get reinvented, and it's going to get reinvented much quicker than what we can to think. So what I'll do is I'll just run through the list quickly of what I said, and then we'll start the panel. So the first thing I said is that the FinTech impact is going to be more dominant in the emerging markets, and Pakistan is going to be the outlier even in that context. That's number one. Number two, agents, mobile banking, and wallets have become the baseline play for the emerging markets on which new level of complex services are going to be built, which is saving and lending and all of that. And that's what everybody is eyeing. Everybody is eyeing, the 3 billion people that are going to come into the financial services fold. 75% of them are in the area that Pakistan is standing out because plumbing is there and the glass is all empty. Then all stack-led innovations are going to come for incumbents through partnerships from startups and FinTechs. Innovation burden is not with the incumbents anymore. That's why the picture is rosy. I would never be this bullish about the future if if I thought that all of this innovation is going to happen within the confines of large incumbents, that's not true. None of this would have happened. And all the incumbents are realizing this, and all of them are at different levels of opening their platforms. What apps are to smartphones is exactly what the FinTechs are going to be to banks and other incumbents. They're going to do the same thing. Now, this is a big one, what I'm going to say. The startups, very quickly, in the coming weeks and months in Pakistan, are going to realize that the real action for them, or the real problem for them to solve are fintech-led problems, because right now there is the issue of last mile, they can't get payments. Startups in this country are going to morph themselves into fintechs. They're just waiting, they're going to be really sure that the incumbent platforms are truly opening up and would entertain them as they come on board. So I see startups, a lot of them changing into fintechs to fix that gap. Now, if they don't do that, I can tell you this for certainty, that we have fintechs from all over the world come in and solve the void, because the void is so big. The void is of 100 million people that have, phones and smartphones and that have all sorts of needs. And if you don't solve those needs, then there are plenty of smart fintechs who are going to come in and solve this for us. Then I'm saying there's another prediction. I think that there are going to be only 5 to 10 large wallet issuers in this country. And these wallet issuers will actually become platforms for then rest of the fintechs and startups to come and build services and functionality on it. So here's another prediction. Now, then I'm saying that digital payment growth is going to follow the same curve as the analog to digital photography did. So nobody would take 300 photographs on a 3-day vacation, what everybody does today. So what I'm saying is that people will make 10, 20, 30 payments from their digital wallets in a day, and we don't make 30 payments with cash, right? So that's another one, that one to know. Now, the 10th one, I'm saying that this is a big one. When the startups will morph into fintechs and would solve the last mile problem, I think that we're going to see in Pakistan the second wave of startups. The second wave of startups, when these payment problems are solved that the banks have failed so far, or have failed. When that happens, I think Pakistan will become very quickly a place which will become a shining star as far as the startup ecosystem is concerned. And I say this out of my experience of the young guys that I work with here, and I think people who are in their early 20s, their ability to solve problems and focus, and the fact that they're multicultural and they're many other things would allow us to really, show the world how global problems are solved, within the emerging market platform. And all of this will happen very quickly. Whatever I said, the time frame of that is, well within the 3 years, I would say. So the last point I'm saying is, don't be a frog and feel the heat and make a move. So with that, I finish my presentation, and we can carry the conversation and discussion, comments, etc. in the panel. Thank you.